Hey everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to Andertons TV. I'm Pete.
I'm Ariel. Hello.
And there's been a lot of requests on some of the backing tracks that I did for the channel, and you did some lessons with Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I did some lessons with Lee. You did some lessons with Lee. I did some more lessons with Lee. And people have been asking, where are these sort of lessons? So the idea we had was maybe just sit down, listen to a track, and the one we just did was the Orange Mayermalade. I don't know. It was Joss and Lee and I. We sat and we came up with some
Mayermalade.
Mayermalade. See what we did there. Came up with some titles. It's not easy to find titles for songs, is it?
No.
It's not easy to find names for your kids. It's the same thing. Same thing. Difficult.
Tough.
So we thought we were just gonna show you how we would approach stuff like playing on these things and what we would use and what we would do and sort of things, because we've got both different.
Yeah, it's important that we're not. This idea for this video was not to show you, the right way necessarily to improvise over this song. This is just how I approach it, how Pete approaches it, kind of what's going through our mind, what we're using to get the sound we want for a track like this. Just a little something different, and hopefully you get something out of it. You take some things from it, learn some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just enjoy at least.
I mean, so a lot of people say, are you thinking about theory when you are playing through? Do you think, are you using the scales, or what are you doing? Do you think, I'm going to the next chord and all this stuff? Personally, no. I sort of just play whatever comes into my mind at a time. Mm-hmm. I'm not going, I need to, not when it's something like this. I don't go, I need to hit the third here. I need to do that. I sort of let it flow. But so we look at the chord first.
Yes.
That's a good place to start,
yeah.
isn't it? So, okay, so the chords are. I'll just start by making it simple. So an A with a C sharp in the bass. Then it goes to D, which is like a fancy major 7 thing with a double D on it. And then it goes to the
G13.
A G13.
And what that means, for those that don't know, it means it's a G7 chord, like a dominant chord, like that, with a 13, which is actually a 6. Yeah, that's what it is.
So you but you got 2 loose strings on the bottom here.
Yeah, the voicing Pete's doing is like a first position G13. So the high E string is that 13.
Yeah. So
that's our A section.
Basically, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And then you got the next bit, which is goes in F sharp minor 11 kind of thing.
It is an 11, yeah.
And then it goes to an A, and then it goes to B minor 7, and then it goes to D
major 7.
It goes back to the F sharp
minor,
and then minor 11.
A major.
And then it goes to the A major. I like doing that.
Add 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still try to keep the B and the E string. And then it goes
B minor 7, C sharp minor 7, D minor 7.
And then it goes to the E sus. Just as a turnaround in the end there.
Yeah.
But let's start at the first bit. So what can you play on that? I mean, personally, I would just sort of.
Well, let's break it down. Let's take turns so we can really get into what both of us are thinking. So you're sitting down. I mean, these are your chord changes, but what is going on through your mind? Take us through.
I mean, my mind is going. There's major going on.
Yeah.
A lot of the major, which I would play as pentatonic. But incorporate bits from the major scale in there.
Okay, so what you mean is you're using
an A major
pentatonic or minor pentatonic?
I would use an A major.
Yeah.
In the 5th position. Or I would use an F sharp minor pentatonic.
Which is A major pentatonic.
Exactly.
Relative minor.
Yes. So, which is.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I would do on the first chord. And then when you get to the G, which is the
flat 7
flat
chord.
7, I would go for the F on that one because I like that note.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I'll play a blues lick on that. You know.
Okay, let's show us what you mean.
Yeah,
3, 4. One more time. Okay.
You know, so I would, because it's a dominant 7 on the G, I like to throw that. I like to play that sort of get the 7
of sassiness.
Yeah, get the sassiness in there.
Yeah.
And that's just me. I mean, other people might do it differently, like you, for instance. I mean, I like to keep it really simple,
Yeah.
right?
So
And build it up.
Yeah, so I come from a background of, I learned theory, and I find it important to know what you're doing and why, but does it shape how I play? Not really. At the end of the day, I'm always just searching for melody first. And,
Exactly.
And if you've seen the lesson with Lee that I did, you know, I had him singing to try to like break out of boxes and break out of habits and just focus on melody. So yeah, like what Pete was saying, the song is in A. So I mean, in my mind, I am thinking in A major the whole time.
Yeah.
And you know, F sharp minor and A is the same thing. No matter where I play it. You know, it's not really, I don't think of it as F sharp minor or A. It's all the same notes. So it's all the same key. And I'm really just looking for melody. I'm trying to sound like a singer. Like, what would a singer do? You know? And on guitar, I mean, sorry, not necessarily on guitar, on any instrument, when the chords change, it varies, you know? I'm not trying to just play scales over each chord.
Good point with the scalitis, you said.
Yes, that's my scalitis thing. Scalitis is actually more so when you're playing and you want to go, but to get up there you have to go 3. You know? You have to work your way up through a scale. So I always tell everybody, you want to learn all the scales, the positions, arpeggios, triads. Learn all that stuff so that you never have to play them like scales, arpeggios, whatever they are, right?
Learn it and then unlearn it.
Yeah. So to start things off, I would say that I'm kind of targeting certain notes.
Yes.
So I'm looking at each change. So that's the 5 of the next chord. 3, next chord.
Yeah.
So right there, you know, what note is that? That's the flat 7. That's the remember I was talking about that dominant chord. I'm bending up to that note and bending down to the 5 of that G chord. But at the end of the day, in the key of A, that's just the 4. So it's all still in the same key, but you accentuate certain notes around certain chords, and it really outlines the shape of the chord. So like my whole point, and what I'm trying to say is, even if Pete wasn't playing right now, and I was just to take a quick little solo on it, I would try to make it so that the listener can still hear the chords moving. So.
So good. That takes time to learn that though, because you have to sit down and literally get a chord and then figure out what is the good notes to play on that chord. And it comes from, as you say, it is the A major scale. So, but you still, you know,
but here's
what
the
chord
thing.
do you have to, how do you approach that to do, you know, to find, because I'm sure people are going to go, so what is he talking about? How do you, let's say, here's the chord. What would you accentuate on the first chord, which is the A, right?
Yeah. Well, a triad, which is a 3-note little cluster of the 1, 3, and the 5 of a chord. You know, those 3 notes detail a chord the best.
Yeah.
Because they just show. They really show the quality of, like, if it's major, minor, this and that. Yeah. So throwing in a bit more there. But
the end,
simple
right?
triads. But you were asking, like, what am I thinking? I'm actually not thinking. I'm thinking A major, but I'm just hearing the sound in my head, and I'm hearing the melody.
Yeah.
And the note choice I want to go to, and I attribute that from the years I've put into learning theory, not theory, but just knowing my scales and knowing where I need to go on the guitar to find what's in here. Because really, it's all just here. It's, you know, I could sing the same solo without a guitar, and it would be the same note choices because I'm just using this to get the idea out, you know.
But let me just explain what you mean. If I do this chord, what would you do? Do triads. So I just did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the A and the C sharp. Yeah. And then you got the D.
Yeah.
See that? There you go. What was that last note you played there?
Okay, so. So right there.
Yeah. What would that note be relative to the A with the C sharp?
That is the 7. So you know this chord.
Major 7.
And over the chord you played, which is an A over C sharp. That becomes the 5 of that.
Yes,
you know?
that's the 5.
But technically, because it's an A over C sharp chord, that note would actually clash because we're going from a. Or are we playing more of a C sharp minor 7?
No, it's that.
Okay. Here's where like the lines get crossed because I'll take a passing chord like that. And I'll play maybe because it just shows more of a chord change, even though there's not necessarily a 5 of that chord. I'm sorry if this doesn't really fully make sense. I might even take the C sharp and play that as a major chord just for the hell of it.
Like this.
Yeah, and just so play the chords 3.
Yeah, so you go. Oh.
So obviously it clashes,
Yeah.
but that's when you're kind of getting more into melodic minor, altered scale, where you're mixing a major third and a minor third together. We're not going to get into that.
But this is you know.
But you don't have to be tied down, is what I'm trying to say. You can kind of bend and push and pull notes however you want to use them.
But I'm sure you'll also figure out when you play that note that is wrong. There is no wrong notes really, because it can all be passing notes. But if you are playing, you know, if you throw that in, but if you play.
But I mean, check it out. So here's an example. Watch this. 3. So right there.
Yeah,
I played the major of the C sharp.
You're playing. So he's playing.
Yeah, which isn't the right chord. But if you put the right amount of conviction and sass, you can make it work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, a chord like the G13, an advantage of theory is you can see substitutions and stuff. So I look at a chord like that, and I also look at a chord like this. So a substitution for a flat 7 chord is a 4 minor. So I'm gonna play this right now. Play just the G note low. That's a G13. Now play me just a D note. See, so that's a D minor 6/9 chord actually.
So just explain substitution chords.
Substitution chord is basically the same notes in a chord but changing the root so that the bass note is different. So
Yeah.
So that's a D minor arpeggio, really. But if I was to play a G13 arpeggio, you know, there's a lot of the same notes. And I'm playing it as a D minor 6 because that's the major of the G chord. It gets really complicated, and I don't want to bore people and get crazy.
But see, there's going to be some of you out there that probably knows all the theory behind it.
Yeah.
And some of you who knows all the scales behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And someone who doesn't know any of it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody goes, "Oh, this is interesting," and "Oh, I can see that how it works." And some people go, "I got no idea what he's talking about right now."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's great to know the theory, as I said. It is quite important to know it, but it's also
It doesn't shape. It's not like I'm not saying that you need to know that stuff. Like that's what I said right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's just my background,
Yeah.
and like,
No, but
it's helped me in certain things. But
it's great to know it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is great to know all the theory and all that stuff, but I think playing is also an important thing. That's more what I do. You know,
I mean,
I just play and listen.
you know, my important things is tone, like with your hands.
Yeah.
Your dynamics.
Yeah.
Your time and your
Yeah.
feel. Those are the 4 important things for me. Like really, melody choice and stuff like that comes secondary.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 most important things in my opinion.
But melody is really important as well, you know, because you could play simple stuff
Yeah.
and just make that sound good, like.
Less is more.
So what I'm doing, I'm just playing around these. I'm just playing those 4 notes, right?
Yeah. There's so much you can do with two notes, 3 notes.
And then just.
Yeah. 3. Yeah.
I mean, all I'm playing is that was the same note here.
Just
That's
an
it.
octave. Yeah.
It's just an octave up.
Same
I'm not,
notes.
and I'm not going. Okay, I'm gonna. I'm not thinking modes. I'm
No.
not thinking triads. I'm not thinking chords. I'm thinking, make that note count, man.
Well, it's
You know what I mean?
we're like I was saying, like a singer.
Yeah.
Ba-da-da,
Go.
ba-da-da, girl. You know, you're gonna breathe. You're gonna leave space. Less is more. You know, guitar players, we tend to go. Right? We feel this need to fill the entire space. But if you were a singer singing over that, would you go? No, you go. You'd breathe. Right?
Yeah.
So that's I think it's safe to say
a
we're
great
both always
example.
kind of going with that
Yeah.
and thinking that way. I want to say one side note before we move away from theory. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, really, you could just play this mode and this mode. Playing modal and stuff, yes, that is definitely useful. I personally, I don't use modes in the way that most people use them. I do play modal technically, you know? Like when you're playing A and you go to a D and you want to play a Lydian, like I'm not going to play the D as a D major scale because that becomes a flat 7 for the root, which is not the chord we're playing. So I am playing modal, but I don't think that way because back to the scale-itis thing I say, I find that so many people play modes and it just sounds like they're running scales.
Yeah.
And
that's
just my own, that's what I do.
No, I completely agree with that, and that comes back to the whole thing about the what would a singer do? How would they approach it? They would approach it with a melody.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't think, oh, on the 5 I need to play a Mixolydian. And I need to get that in there, and if I don't get that in there, then people are going to think, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, it's much more about making that melody and making that tone nice. And it's all about how, for me, you hold a pick that way, you use your thumb, or you like...
Yeah. There's so many different elements.
There's so many different elements. It's not just knowing your theory, is it?
But here's the thing, okay, so
here's the thing.
If you learn all your theory, you know all the notes, you know where every A on every string is, you know, all that stuff. If you don't really know or have the vocabulary, if you don't know how to use these notes, then there's still going to be this struggle. So this is the perfect example of theory isn't going to save the day at all. You need to have this music and these melodic ideas inside of you. And it comes from a lot of...
Playing.
It comes from a lot of listening to music and understanding how melody works and how, you know, slang is used in music. It's just the same as speaking a language. It is speaking a language, and it's one thing to have the notes. It's like having the letters of an alphabet, but if you can't put words together with it,
that's why I think it's important to look at other people, how they do, and then get inspired by those people. Don't, you know, if you want to exactly learn how to play like whoever, Robin Ford or whatever, that's great, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're never going to be yourself, you're never going to have your own thing.
No.
I've always gone, oh, I like that from Robin Ford, for instance, you know, like.
But you make it your own then.
Yes, but I wouldn't exactly play what he plays every single time in my soloing or in my playing, because then I would just be a Robin Ford clone.
Yeah, it's easy.
I love Robin Ford. That's not, you know, but there's so many great players out there, and I think the important thing is to listen to all of them and what do you, even if it's like maybe Steve Vai or who knows, you know, there's people that've got great melody to them and touch and feel and tone and all that stuff, and you can learn something from all of these people. Get inspired. Take that little bit. Oh, what is that? He's playing there. Oh, he's playing.
No, it's great to transcribe, and it's great to be inspired and take influence from things, but it's easy to just sound like your favorite people, you know?
Yeah.
But it's hard to find your own voice.
To play
it's
like
hard
yourself.
to find that honest place inside where when you play, this is me. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Not because I think other people are going to want to hear that, or not because I want to sound like this guy. This is what I do.
Yeah.
But that comes from a wide amount of taking inspiration from different things, and it doesn't have to be even guitar players. It could be singers.
Yeah.
For me, it's singers, it's horn players, it's piano players.
And it's not something you learn overnight, you know. But we are getting flooded with Instagram and YouTube and posts all the time, where people sit down and they play, and you know they all play a certain way, and then somebody comes along, oh, he plays the same kind of thing, and it all kind of gets flooded with all of these amazing players out there. And you know, take what you need from go back. Don't just. I mean, here's my thing. Go back, man. Go back and listen to Jeff Beck and to Eric Clapton and sort of where it began. That back then. There's an old interview with Eric Clapton where he sits, you know, and he's got an SG or something in front of a huge Marshall stack, and there's this BBC. So I say Eric, you know, and he's like,
how do you get that sound?
And he's like, how do you get that sound? And he's got the Les Paul, or what is it, like an SG, a 335 or something, like some Gibson, and he's so then I just turn up a little bit, and then he just goes, you know, like.
That's amazing.
And then I'll just get a bit more, and then I back off on the tone control, and then he's got the the woman tone, you know, and you go, that guy's just might look. I get goosebumps thinking about how much what he gets from that, and that's inspirational right there.
Yeah.
You know, you can watching, you know, us doing the YouTube thing and watching all of the YouTube guys out there, all the Instagram people out there, it can be inspiring, but it can also be all-consuming. A lot of people go, oh, this is all too much, I'm just going to put my guitar away because I'm never going to be as good as these people. That's not the point. The point is to get inspired by them and then be yourself.
Yeah.
Find
Don't worry
yourself
about sounding like...
Don't put your guitar down. If you want to play guitar, play guitar. If you want to play guitar like this, play it like that. If you want to, if you like, you know, that's, I think, don't be discouraged by, like, my Messiah's Sato is so good. And you go, oh man, I'm not going to ever be able to play like him. That's not the point. Play like you. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm never going to be able to play what you play or what Just plays. But that's because that's them. That's not me. I am me.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is like we're getting on this whole different
journey,
but it's important.
Yeah,
it
is important. It is important.
As musicians, specifically, it's like we get so consumed with comparing ourselves to others
all the time.
And all you can do is focus on your own path, stay in your lane. You can only compare yourself to you and your own growth. And for me, I'll speak for myself. It's never ending. I'm never satisfied or settled. You know, I'm always trying to just be better and improve and work on the stuff that I need to. And so that leads us to a good point, actually. Things you can do. We've talked a lot about actually improvising on a song like this, but to just improve and really hone in on finding your own voice, record yourself. Yeah. It's so easy when you're playing, you know, and you're just like, yeah, this sounds great. Because in the moment, you don't really know. You can't really tell. It might feel good, and then you listen back and you go, wow, I'm actually pretty on top here of the beat. And then, you know, another time you'll record yourself, and it's probably the same, very similar, and you're just like, I'm struggling tonight. Oh my God. And you listen back and you're like, wow, that's actually sitting really well. That's feeling good. It's hard to judge where you're at in the moment when you're playing. So when you archive yourself, document yourself as much as you can and listen back, you start getting an idea of where you're at and where you're standing and what you need to improve on and what to focus on.
But that was one of the reasons why we created the backing tracks as well, was to, you know, because a lot of people were commenting, oh, we're really inspired by the way you play, can we get some of this stuff, and, you know, and how can we, you know, and I just thought, well, let me make some of the stuff that we've played through the videos into kind of backing tracks that people can get inspired to. It's not like, it's me, when I've recorded this stuff, most of it is just one take. So there'll be drums, which is programmed, and then you'll have one take bass and you'll have one take guitars. That's it, right? And but I put little bits and no, it's not. No big deal. But it's because I want people to, even they listen back to it, there's little inspirational bits in it, and it might not be completely right, all of it. You know, there might be a little thing there, and you can hear that bit. But that's what it is. That's what I like to do. It's not like copy paste.
Yeah,
you need to flow it out, you know.
Yeah.
The only problem with backing tracks, playing along to backing tracks, is that it won't follow you.
It won't play dynamic with you. When you want to build, it's all on you because it's not staying here. But, totally.
So, and that's also really important to learn how to be dynamic player.
Well, we've talked about this as like with a solo, we want to tell a story. Yeah. You know, I think of it as 3 acts of a play or a movie. It's like you got your act 1, your intro, prologue, you're talking.
Yeah.
Act 2, eventually, things are boiling up. There's a bit of conflict. And then the big climax. I'm serious. Like, you want to tell a story. Yeah. You want to take someone on a journey.
Yeah. Making love to someone. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't just jump in there and go, wah, and then it's done. That's no fun, is it?
No.
So anyway, we've been yapping on.
So I got an idea. So here's what you should work on at home. Try this. So take this tune. What's this song called again?
It's called Orange Mayermalade.
Thank you. So take Orange Mayermalade. We told you the chords A, and then A over C sharp, D major 7, G13.
Write them in the.
We'll write them in the description. Great idea. Try to just focus on the root, which is A, playing around A major / F sharp minor, and then start taking each chord that we talked about, and just looking at the triad. Whatever.
Yeah.
And start trying to just take these little target notes and blend them in to A major. And you're going to find that so many of these notes are already in the scale.
Yeah. 1, 3, 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to start, right?
Yeah, it's a good place to start. Eventually, maybe start putting in the 7 or the major 7,
major
or
7.
the 6/13. You know.
Yeah.
So that think of the idea being that you could play unaccompanied. You know what I mean? Go on and on with it.
I've always struggled with that, actually. That's always been a thing that I wanted to learn, but never really had to, having the time to sit down and do it, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can do it with jazz. Like, they'll just go like jazz.
Yeah.
You do it, you know, playing on the chords, which takes time because you have to learn the chords, you have to learn the modes, you have to learn the scales.
Yeah.
And that's a long process. If you're there, great. I mean, but having it in here and putting it down here, it's two completely different things. That's what takes the time.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing, though. Like, try that, but really focus on melody.
Yeah.
Don't worry about licks. Licks, in my opinion, are filler always. Like, you should play a lick in between, your 4-chord cycle. You shouldn't ever start with a lick because it's a muscle memory thing that you do, and it doesn't grow with ideas. You know, if you start. It's like, okay, cool lick, but where do I go from there?
Yeah.
You know, if I just start on one note, played the same 4 notes over and over and over, but you can find an idea and build a theme around it.
Yeah.
So try to just keep your licks because they're great, but don't try to create and start your solo with the lick. Use it in bunches in and around the melody that you're creating.
Yeah. And another good idea. Yeah, have fun with it. Another great idea is to have a looper pedal. Which was a thing that so on the floor I've got a little Dito looper. So if let's say you're sitting at home, you know, you can get all the backing tracks on iTunes, Amazon, Bandcamp, all that stuff. It's all there. And if you have a looper, instead of playing along to the backing tracks till you learn, you can slow it down. You can go. Right?
Yeah.
And then you can just start playing along there.
Yeah. You can even just sing along to it.
You can sing along. Hey girl.
Yeah, girl. I mean, you can say words or you don't have to say words.
But so a looper pedal is a great tool, and they're really cheap and affordable to go and buy anywhere.
So just on the topic of this track specifically, it's also important to be inspired, you know, with the sound. I say this is a little bit secondary to the playing and the approach, but like, what kind of sound are you looking for?
On this?
Yeah.
I mean, the clean, I would do a clean tone. I know I used the Mudhoney earlier, which in the beginning, I used the Mudhoney and it was a little bit too much, and I realized that. So I would either have a clean tone with a little bit of delay, so just a touch of delay.
Delay kind of makes things a little cushiony and like a bit more forgiving sometimes.
Yeah,
It's like reverb, you know.
But not very much. Just a little bit of reverb. And then I had the light speed, which is just set like a little bit. You know, so you got a little bit of a bite.
Yeah.
Into the V40. That's it. I mean, I think that for me that would be the tone on this track. So I'm probably going for that sort of Mayery Clapton tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just I know I'm playing a Duesenberg. That's a different thing, but. So I think that was the gear that I was using, and it's all sort of a clean-based thing. Inspiration for the track was Jonathan Butler. If you don't know him, go and check him out. And he was playing like a version of Purple Rain.
Oh, okay.
So he's going like Purple Rain, Purple Rain, Purple Rain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool.
So that's kind of the inspiration for those chords. I'm like, oh my god, that's really cool.
Great changes. I love those.
That's a great.
I love that.
That's just a great little change.
Yeah.
And also, the fact that you can play along to these backing tracks, and because the chord change is around, and you can play something simple like. You can play an A scale on A pentatonic, major pentatonic, and it'll make you sound better, and you get that that note, That the chords will also enhance the note, so you go, ooh.
Yeah, sometimes you're only as good as the chords underneath it. I mean that as in, some changes can really help you out.
Yeah, so
that's a nice chord change.
That's a little bit why I've done some of those changes. Anyway, so I don't know if this was any good to any of you. I think we might do some more of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
With the different approaches in how we play. Now, before we go, give us a good lick that you would play. Just a good lick for people. A lick for people to play on this stuff.
Okay.
So just like a simple little lick like the.
Okay. So you want to play the root on the B string, which would be here, on the 10th fret, and it goes like this.
Woo!
You can also play it here. Or here. But it feels best and sounds good. And you can do variations.
You know what I mean?
Right?
And it'll work. That lick will work well on the dominant chord at the end, right? Because it's kind of a bluesy vibe to it, right?
I don't know. That's a little fun little.
That's very cool.
Try.
What are you playing just to tell it the gear?
This is a Roadworn Strat.
There you go.
Which I'm really digging. Blues Junior. Which is a secret weapon recording amp for me. I remember I played a stadium once. This is. I don't mean to sound name dropping, but this is just how hilarious it was. It's like a 15-watt amp, and I was playing with an artist who won a contest to open for Bon Jovi, and there's no backline for us, so I just brought up Blues Junior.
Yeah.
And if you put a microphone on anything, it'll sound huge. So I just had that, and a couple pedals, and it was amazing. So I've got the Blues Junior, I've got the Walrus Audio ARP 87.
ARP.
Subtle, like you have yours.
Yeah.
I have the new Daedalus Plus by Mythos,
Oh.
which is a little signature pedal, which will be available soon. Which is available now, actually. Sounds like this. Here we go. And I didn't really use this, but the Veteran Silicon Fuzz by Thorpe. So good.
Yeah.
I just like a nice smooth kind of overdrive.
Exactly, you would do the same as me,
Same
kind
as
of.
you.
Yeah.
A song
smooth.
like this, you could do. Or the overdrive. But then again, I would rather roll my volume down. It's just different ways to get the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm using. I mean, even with slide, it's the same setup and the same mindset.
Yeah.
If anything, when I put the slide on, it's a slightly easier mindset to be like a singer.
Yeah.
Because everything is so much more legato. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope
absolutely.
you take something away from that. Do you still teach?
Well, it's been so busy, so I had to sort of cut back on it.
Right.
But I'll definitely start up again and do a few Skype lessons.
Yeah. So feel free to get in touch with us if if you have any further questions.
Yeah.
But hopefully that helps.
If you want us to try to do something else on these videos, you know, it's just this has been more of a talk video than I thought it was going to be. You know, I thought it was going to be, oh, then you can play this lick. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to also talk about these things.
Absolutely.
The inspirational speech by Ariel and Pete.
Well, why don't we play them out?
We shall.
Yes, sir.
So this was Orange Mayermalade in the key of A.
And that's on volume 1 or 2?
Volume 2. So I think that is not something that we've actually told people a lot that is out there yet, but it is actually out there, volume 2.
Hey!
A bit more, a few more rocky tracks on there. To name a couple of names, putting the D in Defunk. Bad Mother with a U. Hugging the Bear, Gear Stick Rider, which is and Dinosaur Blues. You can see where all these names come from. Anyway, I was Pete.
I was Ariel.
Here we go.
Thanks for hanging.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Andertons Guitar YouTube channel. If you're a drummer or a keyboard player or interested in music technology, you might find one of our other channels interesting, and I'll put details of those in the description below. If you want to find out more about the products we've just featured, please click here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this, please click here. If you want to watch another video on our guitar channel, click down here. And to subscribe to our guitar channel, click here. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.